Alrighty. Thank you so much for having me.
Man, thank you for making a few minutes of your time today. I know you're super busy, so I won't keep you too long. But yo, I love the music, man. On My Way is definitely the vibe that I'm messing with here too, and Palmera is definitely a dope song too, man.
Dude, I appreciate that. DJ Fusion, I appreciate you having me and taking the time out of your day as well, man. This is I know it's a grind, so I appreciate you helping support me, bro.
Likewise, man. It's just cool to always link with other creatives and share link with other people that we share similar passions. You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah,
you're
oh yeah.
obviously doing it much bigger than most of us. So respect to you, everything you got going, my man.
Thank you so much, bro. It's definitely taken quite a larger life than I anticipated. I'm so excited, this being the first entry to have, such a welcoming crowd, and I'd love to just kind of expand on that and get to really just continue to evolve the catalog and learn my sound and get to do all the first milestones.
Yeah, man, it is a cool adventure, man. Music is it's such like a lifelong journey milestone for everybody. Like before, it's one of the first things you kind of get introduced to as a kid. You know what I mean? So like you get music and then TV and it's like a core memory building part of everybody. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, I'm sure it was a big part of your life too,
Oh,
being
absolutely.
considering that you're consuming so much of it and getting to you're a tastemaker.
Yeah, and I've been doing it for about 25 years professionally. So, it's been a little bit of a journey, but it's about you today, my man. So, Xolo, tell me a little bit about where you're from, my man.
Dude, thank you so much for giving me the platform. My name is Xolo Maridueña. I'm from Los Angeles, California, born and raised. I come from kind of a Chicano, Mexican, Cuban, Ecuadorian background. And so much of that is evident not only in the music, but just in a lot of the art that I've made so far. Even just living in Los Angeles, I feel like it's definitely informed a lot of my work. And right now, I'm venturing into the music world and really trying to um, you know be a part of I guess show my appreciation and for this genre of music that has really helped raise me and that has been a part of my life for much longer than even acting was. So when the strike hit and I wasn't allowed to do acting for a minute, I was getting a little restless and I was like, all right,
Got to do
I
something.
think it's now or never. I think if I was ever to write something and try to put it out, it feels like now's the moment. And I just wrapped up this movie that really inspired me, and I kind of wanted to make a soundtrack for the movie. I kind of wanted, to make something to pair well with the movie, and that's what the Scarab Tapes is, and that's what Palmera is. Palmera is the anthem for Blue Beetle,
Okay.
the superhero, and now that I'm up, is a song about you know coming to terms and having one last conversation with a relative who's already passed. And a lot of these themes that have gone through the movie have inspired this first EP, and now kind of moving forward, I think it'll just be inspired by kind of my life.
Right.
Oh yeah.
How do you, kind of balance being in music and in acting and trying to, just be a person?
It's a tough balance, Fusion. I gotta be honest. Like that's a great question. It's it's in my kind of second nature to make my hobbies and to make like go all out with my hobbies. Like it's when I was 10, 11 years old and I was doing theater, it was like we're going full force into this thing, and it ended up turning into this much larger, it ended up turning into a career. And then I like music, but I can't just like music casually, and I gotta do the research and I gotta sample and I gotta look at all the listen to all the music, and finding that balance has been a it continues to be a part of this journey
Okay.
because I'm new to this, and
Right.
again, I'm still I'm only, I'll be 24 this year, so
Yeah.
there's still so much just in life I have to figure out. And what I appreciate about the music that's different than acting is that this is my opportunity to kind of have it come from me. and not necessarily be facilitated by a different writer or by a director or by a story that isn't my own. This music has been a way for me to kind of to wrap my own head around what I'm doing and what my place is in this world and what my thoughts are and aspirations and all that. So it's felt a lot more personal in that way.
When it comes to music and acting, is there a difference in your ability to connect with the fans and the listeners, or the people that are involved?
That's a great question. I think doing acting and getting to, perform as characters on screen has taught me so much about, you know, characters and how people relate and identify with fictional people on screen, getting to navigate, the in-person interactions with folk that have watched the show or, parasocial relationships online. I have learned to, see how these people that are like these characters that I portray that are not myself, affect other people and maybe allows like it offers this. It's almost like it's so much harder for me to put into words than I can truly understand. And I think translating it into music, kind of as I mentioned, it coming from my own brainchild and not a different
Right.
character. What I wanted to kind of have a transitional period, let's say. I wanted to use a lot of what I've learned on set playing a character
Mhm.
and then bring in my own, let's say, wordplay and style and influence to this character for this concept EP. I think we will still, as I mentioned, it'll still be something that I continue to grow with day in and day out, and then I learn. I'm really excited about this next kind of chapter of getting to, release some fun stuff outside of the Scarab Tapes world and outside of this, outside of playing a character.
Yeah.
Um,
Like you said, it's more
how
you.
yeah, it's more me, and how people receive it is like I'm not too sure. I'm really blessed that um, I'm kind of doing this more to have fun and to experiment and to, you know, show my admiration and deep appreciation and respect for this
Mhm.
genre. If people, if people resonated with it, we'll see. I'm not too sure.
So is it something you kind of grew up with? Has music always been around the household?
Always, bro. Like my since day two, like we had Tribe and Mos Def and
Yeah.
Outkast and Biggie and everyone playing in the house like while I was in the womb, and it was something growing up. I'd always wanted to be a rapper, but I was just so insecure about my voice, and I was like, oh man, like all these rappers got cool voices. And then I hit middle school and I listened to Chance the Rapper acid rap for the first time.
Right.
And I was like, wait, this guy's got a funky voice. Like, and I love his music. And slowly but surely I'd kind of already, committed to acting at that point.
Yeah.
And just as the years have gone by and as I've marinated on the idea more and more, I've kind of come around. And then, slowly but surely, sure enough, a few years back, I was like, all right, let's do this. It's time.
Yeah, man. So you wrote a couple of songs. You wrote this one that I particularly like called "On My Way," featuring Adriana Padilla. I feel it's warm. It's
Thanks, bro.
nostalgic. I feel like it feels like LA on a sunny day.
Hey, yeah, dude. Yeah, you said it better than I could. The I wanted it to be a song that you could listen top down, driving down the road with your homies.
Mhm.
And so many of the songs started like there's themes to each song. I knew I wanted an anthem song, so we made Palmera. I knew I wanted, a song that, you know, paid homage to the crew, like working on films and working on music. You can't help but notice like damn, it's a team effort here.
Yeah.
Everyone's working, and I wanted to, make a song that was like flowers to the DJs, like flowers to all the people, in the radio stations, in the, behind the board, in the music making room, making music. Like, I love y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. And Adriana Padilla, who's on the hook, just gave this, she's from the Bay, so she brought this other, part of California and this part of the West Coast that I wasn't familiar with, and married it with this kind of, you know, uh, really, this one is the most, I would say, tribe inspired.
Yeah.
We have, it starts off with "Can I Kick It?"
Yep.
It is it
Very familiar.
it's got a real familiar, like it's your old cousin who came back into town, and you guys are riding down the street, blasting music.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
man. I really enjoyed that joint. I like the video, the visual treatment as well. And you can tell a lot
Thanks,
of
bro.
work was put into that, man. Like a lot of
Thanks,
time and
bro.
effort was put into that. So I respect that.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, everyone that helped worked on this, on the video production side and on the music side, I'm so appreciative of. They really were so patient with me. This is my first entry into this world, so I had so much to learn, and I still have so much to learn. And the squad that has been, kind of really carefully, brought together has been so gracious, and so really just uplifted everything that I've kind of brought to the table.
Man, so I've been, kind of watching your journey here recently as getting ready for this, man. And I got to see you. You were on Power 106. You got to be on the Brown Bag Morning Show. Like,
Oh
bro,
yeah.
that was wild. Like, I really enjoyed that. I can't wait to see the full clip, but the 5 minute clip they put out, bro. Like, that was really dope. What was it like to get on live mornings in LA, in your hometown, where it all started, where it all comes from, where it means the most?
That's a great question. Um, it felt it felt comfortable, I Brown Bag and the greater, you know, radio station that they have going on up in there. I got to visit Romeo as well, and a few other spots, and there's something just special about your hometown, like you're saying. I think when it comes to getting to be up on the radio, I've really appreciated this time because these are moments that I get to reflect and kind of get to marinate on what the heck I'm doing, and try to wrap my head around it. So I actually really, really enjoy getting to go up and talk music. And, I feel like so much of my creative energy so far has been in movies and TV shows, but behind all of that has been music. And now that I get the chance to really nerd out about it and speak with some people who have even more knowledge, I definitely like, it's a rush that I get.
I think everything with the entertainment industry is kind of like that, man. And the more you get into it, the more you want to learn. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? You want to know how it works. You know what I mean? Like, I know that's for me. That's what radio is like. You know what I mean? Like, I got in as I want to learn more. I want to learn more. I want to know what makes the clock tick. Right?
100.
So it's a journey, man. And I love what you're doing with it, and that you can take it to multiple levels, multiple flat platforms.
Thank you.
And outside of music, you kind of spoke on it a little bit, but like representation, man, like it really matters. And with your Blue Beetle role,
Yes.
being in DC, being one of the first Latino stars, like
Hey,
that
man.
really makes waves, like way more than just across your hometown, across our nation, like worldwide, man. Like, what does
Thanks,
that
G.
mean, to you?
Oof. It means the world to me. I I have really I'm so appreciative that this journey has kind of slowly graduated to this level. I've been doing this since I was 10, and I'll be 24 this year, and it felt so right, at the decade mark, to do my first movie and for it to be Blue Beetle. In a weird way, it had felt like I had needed my whole life to prepare to do this role. That was like kind of, he's so many of the themes and the things that were happening in the movie were echoing my own life, and
Wow.
this character in the movie um, is is I think, I don't, we really need to summarize the movie here, but when it comes to the representation part of it, I think it really, I realized as the movie was coming out on August 18th, and I was getting to sit down, with kids in a movie theater who looked like me, who were, getting to see themselves, like you're saying, for the first time on the screen. It was in that moment that it clicked, like, oh, this is so much larger than myself, and this opportunity, like you're saying, is like a pebble in this pond that the ripples, I don't know what corners of the earth this will kind of reach, but I could see in these 5 and 6 year olds, this gleam in their eye that, something is going to change, and like something has changed now. And that feeling and that opportunity is so powerful. And now that I've done it, I know that it's possible, and I want to continue to do that in a lot of different ways. And I hope that, it doesn't just happen for folk that look like me and come from where I come from. Like, I hope that this opens the doors for your favorite, and, Jen's favorite, and Adrian's favorite, and everyone else's favorite superhero, because this can't be the last, it might be the first one, but it can't be the last one.
Can't, yeah, no, cannot be, not at all. But that's it's a got to be a really awesome honor to have and whatnot. So Xolo, you're making music, you're doing acting. Who are you when there's no camera, when there's no lights, my man?
Dude, who am I? You want to know? This is who I am. I'm editing some post-production stuff right now. I'm in New York, and
Yeah.
I'm in my hotel room talking to you right now. This is who I am behind the cameras. You know, right now I'm taking this year to really figure out who I am outside of the career as well. I've been on this hamster wheel, on this grind, career wise. I've been chipping away at the statue of the career for a long time now, but my inner, who am I statue isn't as fleshed out. So I feel like now that Cobra Kai has ended, this 7 year journey that I had the blessing of kind of to be a part of, and Blue Beetle is taking a break for a while they're figuring out the rest of the universe, like, it feels like this year is a time for me to look inward and figure out, all right, what are the next steps? Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
Cobra Kai's a big part of your life though too, and I mean that's
7 years, bro.
yeah, I mean and I mean it's like a nostalgic international piece, international legacy. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's like a zeitgeist.
yeah, man.
The Karate
What
Kid
was
is
it like
like,
to work with Ralph?
bruh, I mean, Ralph, Billy, Marty, you know, Mark Kamen, the writer of it, like, the energy was all there in making this thing. And the writers, it really started from them. They were the biggest Karate Kid fans, and they knew exactly, their thumb was on the pulse. And getting to make that first season behind closed doors without any expectations was so healthy. And I was 16, and you know all I wanted was to get a shot to, be a main character, or like get to show off my acting ability. And Billy and Ralph took me under their wing and were like, all right, bro, now's your time to shine. Let's,
And you
you
did,
know
bro. You
this
did.
is this is your character, and you can run away with it and make this your own. And I it has taken on a whole new level that none of us could have imagined. And kind of wrapping it up, we're coming up on the year mark now. Like, it's been a year since we wrapped up on the last day. And that last season, all I wanted to do was just do right by Ralph and Billy. Like, it had been 7 years for me, and it had been, you know,
Probably three
I don't want
decades
to
for
make them
them.
seem old, but it had been a couple of decades,
Yeah.
that they were holding on to these characters, and to let go of that, I just wanted to land the plane for them, and I'm really proud of what we did, and I can hope to work with all of them in some capacity because they're some of the most talented people that I've ever worked with, some of the most hardworking, kind people I've ever worked with. But it was it was a journey. I definitely felt exhausted by the end. I was like, damn,
It's
we
nonstop though, you know.
these characters lived a life.
Well, and it's also, you know, it might be like, you know, a season for the viewers, right? Like 15, 16 episodes, but that's
Yeah,
like 8, 9 months, 10 months for you. It's
dude.
every day.
I mean, when I put it together, I spent, yeah, like almost, I think, 3 years in Atlanta over the course of 7 years.
Wow.
So
That's
like
crazy.
it's it's a trip. It feels like, and especially the time that it happened from 16 to 23.
You're like
Like these are some of the
graduating and
most
yeah,
these
you're
are some of the most formative years anyways for people in their life. And the fact that it's, on camera for people to watch forever terrifies me. But, but like, dude, I envy the, folk of yesteryear who didn't have any photos of them pre high school, pre anything. Like, all my shit is documented. It's
Wow.
my kids are gonna be like, ew, oh my God, you are so cringe. Uh,
Oh, my
it's
kids are
gonna be
already like that, man. So don't feel too bad.
it's universal. It's universal.
It is. It happens. It'll come full circle. Sholo, last question I got for you, my man. I support a ton of independent artists, ton of independent music here at 93.1 Jams in Madison. And I was wondering, Sholo, could you offer any advice to upcoming artists that, you know, would help them to level up their game?
Oof. I do. I would say don't be afraid to work for free. Like so much of my generation, I feel is um, really antsy and really eager to make a lot of money out of the gate. But there's a lot of things that we can learn just being in folks' ecosystem and trying new things. And maybe, you're not making a ton, but it's giving you this experience. I think that especially if you're living under your parents' roof and you're, in high school or you're in middle school and you have the opportunity, like definitely seek out those opportunities and at the same time listen to your heart. Like you should, do what you're passionate about because when you're doing what you're passionate about, when you're not seeing, I knew at 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 that I was doing what I loved because I wasn't booking anything. I wasn't, I was hearing no after no at
No.
auditions, but it was still what I wanted to do. So I was like, okay, this is okay. This is par for the course. It's when you're doing something that you're not really excited about and then not receiving results that you start to feel that sense of unease and that sense of like, so I'd say, first try out what you like, give it some of your best shots and then go from there. But outside of that, I'm still figuring it out too, y'all.
Yeah.
So just know that, we're always changing, we're always growing, and that's okay.
Absolutely, my man. I love that advice. It's definitely something I've lived by as well. So that's really dope to hear it come from somebody else.
Hey,
You know,
thanks,
Sholo, this
appreciate
has
you, bro.
been really dope, my man. This has been super dope. If Madtown wants to follow you, if anyone wants to tap along with your journey, maybe find about, you know, what's going on, what your next single is going to be, what's the best way to find
Absolutely.
everything Sholo?
I appreciate that. Yeah. You can check me out at Lone Lobos on all my socials. LONELOBOS. That's me, and I, I'm talking about my music all the time over there, and my name Xolo Maridueña. Anywhere you listen to music is kind of where you can see, you know, catch the music journey.
Well, you're absolutely doing it, my man. You got about 30,000, you know, monthly subscribers on Spotify right now, you know, whether you know it or not, you know, so some people are definitely vibing with your journey.
Hey yo, all right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day, bro. And when I come up to Milwaukee, I'm gonna
I'm
see you.
in,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Madison. I'm about 45 minutes from Milwaukee. So if you guys let me know when you're there, I'll definitely make the
All
journey
right.
down.
Dude, all right. Well, appreciate you, bro. I'll talk to you soon, okay? You have a
All
great
right.
rest of your day.
You as well.